things off, say good evening and welcome to the Caucus Council's Fall Town. My name is Peter Eck, and I am the Executive Chair of the Winnetka Caucus Council for the 2024 to 25 council year, and it is my pleasure to be here. The Winnetka Caucus Council began in 1815, and we think the Fall Town Halls began shortly thereafter. So, as far as we know, this may be the 109th consecutive Fall Town Hall that's taking place at the minute. I'm going to do my best to not screw it up. The Winnetka Caucus Council is a group of volunteers that come together each year to form a council, which exists for three main reasons: to measure and understand what residents care about most. We do this through our annual survey. To work with the boards to maintain focus on what residents care about most. And we do this via these board platforms that we share with the board each year, and that we publish and social this probably. And third, to source, vet, and support great candidates for all open board seats so that we always have compelling options to choose from when it comes time to vote on who will lead our village's taxing bodies, of which there are four: the village council, the park district, District 36 schools, and Winnetka Northfield Public Library. 4 taxing bodies. All of you voting residents of Winnetka, plus parts of Glencoe and Northfield, represent the caucus. So when we talk about the caucus, it's all of us. If you live in the neighborhood, you don't have to sign up, you don't have to do anything. We are all collectively the caucus. The group of resident volunteers of the caucus council acting as the caucus, we are all together in the caucus. Tonight is not the end of the caucus council year. We actually reset in early 25, but it is a major milestone in event. Tonight we will hear from candidates interested in filling seats that will open next year across all 4 of our taxing plans. We will have time for open question and answers with the candidates, and then we will vote on which candidates shall represent the Winnetka Caucus Council slate on the ballots for the April 1st general election in 2025. So tonight is the caucus coming together to engage with candidates, give the public an opportunity to ask questions of those candidates and hear from those candidates. And then we will vote on who we want to be on the Winnetka Caucus Council slate of candidates. Tonight is not a final vote. It is a signal that we as a community support these candidates that have significant support, and then we help get them on the ballot for the April 1st general election, which is the official election. So ultimately, at the end of this process, the public decides. I'll talk a bit tonight about what we've already done this year through the Caucus Council, but we're all here together as a full caucus, which is friends, neighbors, residents, maybe even some enemies. We're all here together to hear from these candidates and decide what we feel and who has the door to support them. We have a strong set of candidates to engage with tonight, but it is a package. Each of the 4 boards has at least 3 open seats. Plus, we have to go with the president's seat open this year, and we have 16 candidates in total for 13 seats in total. We have 2 more candidates in seats for parks, and we have an alternate if needed for the school. Given the packed agenda, I am going to jump right into logistics so that we can understand and agree on the rules, and then hear from the candidates and get into voting. I think that's what we'll all do. So without further ado, let me begin by introducing our talented and dedicated neighbors who make up the Caucus Council Executive Committee. That's to get over to the changes. These folks have given their time and talent. These folks have given their time and talent, which is true any year, but this year's group really stepped up We have been working our tails off to modernize, systematize, streamline, and improve the overall transparency and functioning of the caucus mechanism. The reason this is so important is because we're trying to lay the groundwork for years to come. The COVID years of 2020 to 2022 were largely triage years, right? We were figuring out how to ship Zoom, how to still go through the motions. Those were challenging years. In 2023, we focused on driving engagement and record survey and town hall participation. Last year's town hall was on Zoom. We had over 500 participants. This year, we decided to, for the first time ever, give hybrid trial. So we have people that are watching us tonight via Zoom. We'll be able to vote remotely using a secure digital voting platform. And we have the folks here in the room who can also vote digitally or using the.
Yeah, I mean, I just plugged in. I unplugged the feed.
So this has been all about getting the inner workings of the caucus council, working our way to share it so that the public can have.
I mean.
full confidence. So it's serving of the caucus council.
You know, I mean, is it,
Navigating.
what did we do last time? Did we have?
Everyone in this executive, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, for partnering, remaining open and doing this, going big and striving to do the best.
Where's the mic going in?
I look around this
Right here.
room and at the people online, I feel. Yes, and
What is that called?
hundreds of my.
It's not the network, so I had it same as system.
First time we use state of the art, independent third party voting system. We are making some fundamental improvements. And it's the mic. Guys, look around, this is democracy in action. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring and being part of things tonight. And let's give a round of applause to our fellow neighbors. The agenda for this week. We're going to start out, we're not too far behind that. Completely shocked that we started at 7 on the document. We are going to quickly get into the library Q&A, and then the parks and the buildings and the schools, try to wrap up as close to 10 as possible. First, we have to get into the rules, but before we do that, let me give you an idea of the rules. So we see on the screen here, the table is a summary of who all of the current board members are across the tax bodies. The folks that are looking for some. Okay, um, I know nobody can read this, that wasn't the point, but the point is that throughout this year, we've been laser focused on bylaws and policies. There's so many, rules and structures that I have in the year. And we've been fully in this, running. We heard.
He's at home.
Tonight is no different. So, I'm gonna show you.
Checking in with last minute, so he said the sound is bad.
So, doing things. Rule 127, rule 128, essentially spell out the, structure that are existing. I'm gonna move on to the next page, which has bullet points, rules of the road for the day that are important to. Executive Chair, I will be presiding over the meeting and I will go on question and procedure. We also have with us tonight a professional parliamentarian, Doris Atlantic. We're very appreciative of her time that she did this year. She also was on the Zoom last night.
The audio.
Thank you.
Want to make sure.
So residents will have 20 seconds to ask a question when we go through the Q&A for the board. At 20 seconds, I will raise my hand and residents will have 10 seconds to wrap it up. What we'll have residents do during Q&A is that side of the room. If you also want the windows there, that podium and light, where we play this. You can look at the audience, you can look at the candidates who will be up here sitting at these tables. But a brief question, and it should be a question. This is not open mic event at the time. It should be a question of the candidates. We're very fortunate tonight that we have nearly all the candidates that can be here with us, that we have ready to ask these questions. Let's take advantage of that. Let's ask them what they think about issues. And let's keep it civil and constructive. So if there are personal attacks or digging into things that are not directly related to the candidates here tonight, I will step in or just to clarify the question before I may even say that we're going to be. We will be civil and constructive. For the candidates, they will have 2 minutes. Again, I'll raise my hand at the 2-minute limit. That means candidates. We want to quickly move on from that so we can get to as many questions as possible. That's a good opportunity to say again, with doing something for the first time, first ever hybrid event to try to be as inclusive as possible. There are kinks along the way. So we're going to work through that. And this is going to pick up the audio here. Okay. Residents can ask multiple questions. Please just get back in line if you're going to do that. We're not doing follow-on questions. We're not going to do a 5-minute back and forth. The idea is ask the question. You can stand there if you want, but then take your seat and let's give the candidates an opportunity to address it. If there's something that's broadly applicable to multiple candidates, I can give multiple candidates the opportunity to answer. And going below your time is celebrated. Each board will have up to 30 minutes for Q&A. We have a lot to get through tonight, so we're going to stick to 30, and that's why we want to keep things moving. Sorry, the last point. And then finally, we are following Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. And so Doris will be helping us stay on track with that this evening. Okay, next up. You guys got to let me go a long time before you mention them. Okay.
Were those the rules that you just read?
These are the rules for you. So Doris is now going to read the rules. The rules I just went over are what the bylaws outline are within the realm of what the chair can set. There are additional rules tonight that we all need to agree on, and that's actually going to be the first vote that we're going to take tonight. So Doris is going to read these rules for us. Yep.
That's all you want.
Okay, these are the, excuse me, my name is Doris Williams. I am a professional parliamentarian, and I am here to, read the rules that will assist us tonight in having a very good and, timely meeting. Once adopted, number one, a 2/3 vote is necessary to amend or suspend these rules. Number two, anyone who asks a question must share their full name before asking the question. So when you come up to the mic, the first thing you want to do is say your name. Any paper ballots flagged by my voice as already having been entered will be set aside to prevent double counting of ballots. We will retain these records for further review if needed, but they will be destroyed within 1 week of the fall town hall. And then lastly, number four, a member who exhibits unruly conduct will be given a one-time warning. A second incident of unruly behavior, the individual will be asked to leave the meeting. And so what we need right now is just a motion to accept these basic rules.
It's been moved in second.
So with that, I believe we move on to the vote, yes?
Yes, yeah, it is, but you gotta state it first. It is moved in
It is
second.
moved and seconded, that's why we need Doris. And so now, do we have a motion to move on to the vote?
No,
So moved, I messed that up.
it's okay.
This is what, again, we have. Okay, so moved. So we are going to move on to the vote, and it's actually going to be good practice for how we're going to vote the rest of the night. We're going to go through the same workflow. Okay, so let me advance this screen. This is a dashboard of the voting results. As the results get tabulated in, this is what we will be looking at. And we will publish the results once we have them. 1 second. Okay. So everybody here either has a digital voting code. You may have said you just wanted to come watch in person. You've got your digital voting code. You've got your phone. You're all set to vote. That's great. If you have a paper ballot, you have a QR code on that paper ballot on every page, and there's a website. You can scan that QR code and go to the website or type it in, and you can enter your digital code. There'll be a space in the top right of that website to enter your code, and then you can vote. If you want to stick with the paper, that's perfectly fine. Again, we are trying to be as inclusive as possible through all this. If you want to stick with the paper, what you'll do is fill out that paper, make sure you have your code at the top of the paper. We can't enter a vote if we don't have that code. So you'll fill out your sheet, you'll bring it up to the front of the room, you can hand it to a friend. Names are not on the sheets, so once we get it, we don't know whose ballot it is. If you want to watch that be entered in, you can do that. These wonderful people up here at the front table are paper ballot enterers. They are going to take your paper ballot. They're going to type in the code on the website. They will vote as written on your sheet, and then move on to the next one. And we'll repeat that process. Again, you're welcome to watch them do that, but that's what will be going on up here. So go ahead and vote if you have, and start to bring those paper ballots forward. Now, the more people that do that QR code and vote digitally, the faster this night will go, because then we don't have to process things up here. But if you're ready, bring it on forward. We will type codes in and get this vote processed. For the folks that are on Zoom and have digital codes, just go ahead and navigate to the voting website, which again, you can see here at the top of the screen, my-vote.com/here/Winnetka. Enter your code and navigate to the test vote, which is at the top of the page. sorry, not, there are test votes, but navigate to the town hall rules vote at the top of the page. Make sure you confirm the vote, enter it, and then you'll go back to that main page. So for people on Zoom, we're going to let the paper ballots be processed for a bit. There'll be a little bit of downtime here until we get past this step. I know it seems silly, but if we're going to follow the Robert's Rules of Order and have a structured meeting, this is something that we need to do. So we will agree on these rules and then move on to the library committee.
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Need the cord for this one. Need the cord for the mic.
You have a report. Okay.
You got it, that'd be great. Worried it's gonna die, and then we will not be able to experience.
Oh, you can't smile like that? Okay. Sure, but that'll work.
Maybe that wire.
The input is not functional.
You know what you can do? I'll turn my audio on my laptop if you want, as I'm a panelist, and you can take that back.
Once everybody talks to me.
We could do that. And this will just be. Okay.
That'll be better for you, right? At this point, it's not.
Okay. Great. You're okay with this being here?
Oh, yeah,
right.
fine.
That working?
And you're still.
That's not working. That's not working. That little guy's not gonna charge you. I'll get back on.
Is it on? Is this,
Oh, yeah.
is it on? I don't know. Is it on? Is it on? No, I think he said no.
Matt, use this one. Use this one,
The plug I work.
because I don't know what that other one is. It's not the cable issue.
Let's try. We'll just give it a go.
Okay, is that turned on? The strip? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, use my plug. Pete.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, good call. But if this piece of computer and it works normally, I'm sure this plug will be fine. That works. Maybe just plug it in direct. Unplug that guy. I think the power strip's there.
Yeah. And we're good. Great.
You can team breathe off your.
So how many voters do we have?
We're
You don't
gonna
know.
see that in a sec.
Oh, so you don't know ahead of time,
It varies throughout the night.
okay?
Oh, no, there's no video. Okay, we have our first vote done. Congratulations and overwhelming approval for the Fall Town Hall rules. So we're gonna keep going. So this is a clear win for the rules, right? 97.5% in favor. We will display the rules in a similar fashion as we get through the library vote, then the parks vote, and then the village and schools. So we're gonna move on to library. I would like to invite the library candidates to come up and take a seat at the tables up here. And if residents with questions would like to start thinking about queuing up, each of the candidates will have 2 minutes to share an introduction, and then we'll move on to Q&A. The third candidate, Sarah Munoz, could not be here with us this evening due to personal reasons. So, and unfortunately, she is not able to Zoom in either. So we have Sarah Teagle and Lindsay Jenkins, and welcome both, and thank you for being here. We are going to move this computer closer to you because the audio in for the Zoom folks is actually this one. And when you're ready, please go ahead and start with your 2-minute introductions. Actually, if you want to shift here, then.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Jenkins, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight. I'm a Northfield resident for the last 6.5 years. I have 2 young kids in 1st and 3rd grade. I am not from the area. I am from Michigan, and I reside from a mother that was a public librarian, so I'm very familiar with the library and a little bit about the board, because sometimes I heard some of the stuff that she would say when she would come home. But as it pertains to myself, I am a sales director at LinkedIn. So I manage a group of about 75 to 100 people, and a lot of that, my job is cultivating a culture of differing opinions. So I'm looking forward to being on a board where I can help with cultivating different opinions. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing from the community.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, and thank you to the Caucus Council for organizing the event this evening. My name is Sarah Teagle, and I joined the library board as a trustee this past March. As a lifelong lover of reading, I've always found a welcoming home in my local and school libraries, and we are fortunate to have a wonderful library district here in Winnetka and Northfield that provides valuable information resources, educational opportunities, and social options for residents, young and old. In my short time as a trustee, I've only come to further appreciate what the library and its assets provide for our community, from virtual programming to community spaces to digital periodicals and the latest bestsellers. A bit about me: my husband and I moved to Winnetka 15 years ago to raise our family, and we have 2 children who are currently students at Washburn and New Trier. My professional background is in communications and PR with capital markets and financial technology firms, where I manage media, messaging, and branding efforts on behalf of CEOs and founders. I graduated from Northwestern, where I studied journalism and English, and I previously volunteered locally in D36 schools and with my child's preschool. Our library district is tasked with serving an ever-evolving community that is now looking to its libraries for many resources beyond traditional book lending. My interest in continuing to serve as a trustee includes working with the board, library director, and villages to fulfill the district's strategic vision for meeting these needs over the next several years. Responsible investment in capital improvements to both library branches, and particularly a planned for expansion in Northfield, will greatly benefit patrons in both villages through additional community spaces, programming, and a larger shared physical collection. Managing the growing demand for digital lending services and audiobooks is also becoming critical to the success of our library and many others, which requires a longer-term view for collections as a whole. Our library also continues to find success and high engagement with both in-person and virtual events, which remain an important community resource. This year, monthly visitors to both branches are robust and growing, and overall circulation numbers are strong, which are testaments to positive patron experiences. I hope to continue working with our director and board to accelerate these encouraging trends and help guide our library district in its next phase of growth. Thank you for your support.
Great, thank you all very much. And with that, we will open the Q&A. So again, if somebody would like to ask a question, please try to make it up to the mic here, so that others can hear the question. Begin with your name, and then your quick 20-second question.
Mark there. Yes, some candidates. What their view is on the proprietary, on the appropriateness of the 5 million plus Northfield expansion project that was adopted 2 years ago at the library. It's not moved forward. And also, please explain why there was never any substantive discussion at the library board of that matter.
Thank you, Mark.
Sure, thank you. Well, the library board, again, which I joined in March, has been debating this issue for quite some time. The reality is that Northfield is way too small for patron use. Our director just shared with me that a children's event with a capacity of 40 had 85 patrons show up this week, and they had to turn 45 people away because there's no room to accommodate them. So the reality is that, you know, this planned for expansion in Northfield has been budgeted for. There's no plan to ask for further funding. And we are working, I think, quite well with the village now in Northfield to meet the needs of the community. The facility there is just under 5,000 square feet, and they receive 4,000 visitors around that per month, whereas the facility in Winnetka is 21,000 square feet with 10,000 visitors per month. So Northfield is completely oversubscribed as far as its ability to meet the community's needs, and you know, we look forward to remedying that in the next few years.
Thank you. Lindsay, would you like to add anything? If not, that's fine.
That's sufficient. Thank you.
Okay, are there other questions? Are there questions, Matt, from Zoom? No? Okay. Then we're gonna pick up some time there and go ahead and move on to the vote. There are 4 open seats opening up next year. We are recommending 3 candidates for the caucus council slate. And I'll take a minute here to explain what that means, actually. I want to make sure this is clear to everybody as we go through that. So with the caucus council, the candidates that get all the way through the process and receive that tag of being the caucus council recommended candidates. In the case of library, all 3 that you're putting forward tonight are caucus council recommended candidates. Sarah Teagle, Sarah Williams, and Lindsay Jenkins all applied through the full application process. We reviewed their applications, we interviewed them, we interviewed all applicants. We checked their references, we looked at any available public information in terms of their service record and what they've already done with incumbents. We met as a slating committee to discuss the candidacy, the pros, the cons, and the concerns, and ultimately the slating committee votes in favor of the candidates, and then from there they move on to get a full review by the caucus council to confirm the best leader candidates that we as a caucus council want to put forward. So the full library slating committee process. 4 applications did not go through that process. They did follow the bylaws, and they did get through the right steps to be considered tonight. They did not go through the full caucus council review process, or they may have applied in the next second. There are 2 ways to apply. With that, we'll move on to voting. So same thing as what we did for the rules vote. In this case, the 3 library candidates. Oh, move that a little closer. Thanks. With the three library candidates, you're voting on each candidate independently. So if you want to vote for all 3 and there's majority support for all three will be slated, right? Because we do not have a surplus of candidates. So go ahead and fill that out, bring it up like we did before. And it's a straight majority for library, for schools, and for village, where we do not have a surplus of candidates. It's a straight majority. If there's majority support for Sarah and Lindsay and Sarah Munoz, they will be slated. Folks on Zoom, please navigate back to the website at this point. The vote should be open. You should be able to cast your vote on the My Voice platform. The My Voice team is going to be watching those results flow in, and will let us know when the vote has tapered off. The digital vote is much faster than the paper vote, right? So we need time to process here. For the most part tonight, by the time we're done, the digital vote will have tapered off. We'll finalize the numbers. Then My Voice team is entering those numbers on the screen that we will see, and then we'll be all done. So I'll share those once the library votes are processed. We'll move on to parks. You two are free to take your seats. Thank you.
Background music. Here.
While we're waiting here, could I please have Bob Dolan, this is going to be your license. If I want that for the way. Bob Dolan. It's yours. Paper ballot team, how are we doing? A few more to go? Okay. While we're waiting for this, if I could ask the Parks candidates to go ahead and come on up and find a seat up here so that we're ready to go for Q&A as soon as we have the results. And actually, we were hoping to start Parks at 7:50, so we had some time there. We're 9:22. Watch this thing. I think it's gonna be probably the best for your future. Too, so if everybody wants to. Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead and grab a seat now. I just want to wait. And we'll do everybody in alphabetical order, sir.
You from a long time ago. You've been doing this a little. Last year. Maybe that was it. That's a long time. Okay, you say so. All right.
Can you see? Yeah, you could do that. He's all right. Why this keeps coming on? Just don't understand this.
For the Zoom folks, we're just still processing paper ballots, so give us another few minutes and then we will tabulate the results and share those. looking at some of the Zoom comments here for the folks on Zoom saying if you've forgotten who the candidates are, in the voting platform, you will be able to see who's next in the list. Those are going to be the next candidates up. So everybody is in order from library on to parks and then village and then schools. So just go back to that main voting page on my voice to see who the candidates are going to be. Okay, for the My Voice team, we are done counting the paper ballots here. Please confirm, send me a note that the digital votes have tapered off, and then we will tabulate, show the results. Okay, they have confirmed we are ready to close. So I'm just going to give them a minute to type in the results here for the library. So about halfway done. Fully done. Okay. Just give me a second to screen share for the folks that are on Zoom. Great. Hopefully everybody can see that. Okay. And congratulations to Sarah Munoz, Sarah Teagle, and Lindsay Jenkins for being slated as the Winnetka Caucus Council Library candidates. So we will pull this page back up throughout the night. We're going to move on to parks. Now everybody's kind of got the flow down. But the candidates are going to introduce themselves, Q&A, we'll go through the voting. We'll take a look at the parks results. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the candidates to start the introductions. We'll start on the ballot. They're listed alphabetically by surname. So we're going to start off with Scott Corley. Scott, if you want to come up here, this is going to be the best place with the audio to give an intro. Yeah, let's just do it up here. You can pass that around for Q&A. So just leave that and then just talk right into it.
You got it. Hi, my name is Scott Corley. I'm a North Shore native. I've lived in Winnetka for 11 years. I've raised my 4 kids here. All 4 of my kids attend New Trier. 2 of them are still there, a sophomore and a junior. I have a computer science degree from the School of Engineering at University of Illinois. I've worked in telecommunications. I've worked in video games. I've owned my own business. And for the last 14 years, I've worked in developing electronic transaction financial software. When When I had my own business, I put myself through the Kellogg School of Management here at Northwestern and earned my MBA. During that program, they put a big emphasis on expanding the pie, getting to yes, and moving things forward in negotiations. When I was young, I worked at my local park district right here in Glenview for 8 years during high school and college. I've utilized park facilities my entire life since I was little until now with our kids here in Winnetka. I consider the park district to be essential to the character of a community. In my career, I happen to have some time right now to give back to my community, and I'm happy and willing to serve on the board. Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, next up, I think, is Mary Garrison. And I should highlight for the Parks Board, the Caucus Council candidates went all the way through the process and have been recommended by the Caucus Council. It's Scott Corley, Elise Gibson Duda, and Colleen Root. Mary, please. Well. Can't be too loud.
Can't be too loud.
Yeah.
Can they hear? Because I got a text that they couldn't hear.
Should be okay now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to ask if you can hear, all right? Okay, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for your time to be here in person, and also thank you for everybody that is online this evening. I have 2 minutes, I'm told, so I will cut to the chase. There is a handout with a green header that I want to alert you to. I hope you all have one. You will see my pledge to you if I am elected to serve on the Winnetka Board, Park Board. I have served on the Park Board, so I have no learning curve. I have attended Winnetka Park Board meetings since March of 2023, so I'm up to speed. I have state and national experience. I will bring grant money to the district. And I know the history of the Winnetka Park. An email was circulated by the opposition. This email expresses one true fact, and I quote, Elder should have been opened and renovated 10 years ago, and it will be another 10. I believe Elder Beach should be open now. Elder has been held hostage to the wants and desires of the proposed Centennial renovation. Centennial is a very expensive project with all funds from your tax dollars. No state grant money, no referendum. Blaming anyone for the 4 seasons of closure of Elder Beach, other than the majority of the Park District Board, is nonsense. It is time for common sense to prevail. Elder is a standalone park. Elder Beach must be opened in 2025. Okay. Our park district has existed for 120 years. Now the community worries that Centennial Park may be under the shadow of a 50-year restrictive covenant imposed by a majority on the park board. Okay, he's cut me off. There's many other projects that I want you to know citizens desire, and I have talked to some of these people. The one thing is, I will go to referendum for any large projects.
Thank you. Okay, I think next we have Elise Gibson Duda, so I'll turn it over to Elise.
Hi, thank you for being here. My name is Elise Gibson Duda, and my husband and I moved here 17 years ago with 2 young children. And then we had a 3rd child here in Winnetka. one of the main fabric of our life here in Winnetka has been the Winnetka Park District. And I think in reflection that we've probably undertaken every offering that the Park District has. I feel that I've been very fortunate to have the freedom to watch my children play sports, to go to the beaches, to go to the parks and so forth. And I know that people before me served on the Park District Board and they devoted immense amounts of time and effort, and that I've benefited from it. So I feel that I need to run for the Park District Board, and thanks for the people that have served before me. So I am running as an independent candidate for Commissioner of the Park District, and I will bring a fresh eye to the Park District matters. I do have some skill sets that would be helpful on the board. I was a partner at DLA Piper in the corporate department, and my background is in mergers and acquisitions. So my job was to bring deals to fruition, and I have but my best skill is in fact consensus building. I also have an MBA from the University of Chicago, which will be helpful on the board as we undertake various business matters, budgeting and construction costs. My goal as a commissioner is to move forward on Park District mandates, including Elder Beach. I hope to have a good relationship with all of the Winnetka taxing bodies, as well as a good relationship with board members. But my most important undertaking as a commissioner is to make sure that I am representing the majority view of Winnetka residents, whether you're new to Winnetka, whether you're raising your family in Winnetka, or if you're aging in place. That's my
Time.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, I think next we have Bill Murphy. So welcome, Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill Murphy. I think many of you know me. I'm a 33-year resident of the village, and I have a 30-year history of service to the village, its government, its institutions, and its residents. 2 previous terms on the park board, part of that as park board president, and a large part of that as chairman of the park board finance committee. 2 terms with the Winnetka Caucus Council, 2 terms with the New Trier Education Caucus, which picks candidates to run for school board. I've served on the zoning board. I've served on 2 advisory committees for past village presidents. The last one was for the post office property. I have an 8-year history with Troop 20. I was an assistant scoutmaster, and I was the purchasing agent for the Christmas tree lot. I have coached KY baseball, AYSO soccer, and house league basketball. And in all that volunteering, I have decided that volunteering alone is not enough. Complete service has to be volunteer and listen. There has to be 2-way communication between the volunteer and the people that he or she serves. That's not currently happening, but I can help because I have extensive professional skills in communication. I'm a former national columnist and journalist and helped start USA Today. I'm a former managing partner of the world's largest financial communications company. And I have that extensive experience as far as the park board is concerned. We used my skills in my first term when we had a major project with 2 major components that was going to cost $20 million. We went out to the community. We did numerous presentations, different times, different places, different neighborhoods, so that anybody in town that wanted to see the plans and give us questions or feedback could see us. And then we did an advisory referendum. And the advisory referendum let all voters give us feedback on both components. All right. Essentially what I'm saying is, if you want somebody who believes in not only service, but communication, if you want somebody with extensive experience in running the park district, and if you want somebody who has demonstrated fiscal responsibility all along the line, then I am the person that deserves your vote, and I hope you will give it to me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. And last but not least, we have Colleen Root.
Can you hear me? Mr. Murphy's a hard act to follow, isn't he?
Your name.
Hello, Winnetka. I'm Colleen Root. It has been and is my pleasure to serve you as a volunteer Park Board Commissioner. And I want to thank Caucus for your confidence in nominating me for a second term. And I really want to thank you for your many, many hours of volunteer service. As a public servant and a volunteer, my duty is to listen to you and to represent what you want. And what I've been hearing for 2 years is we want Elder Lane Beach repaired and we want it open. With the help, should you see fit tonight to vote so, of Mr. Murphy and Ms. Garrison, you have our pledge that we're going to do it for you. As an attorney with local government experience, I understand the crucial importance of transparency, of open communication, and of fiscal responsibility and accountability. And it is this reason that I have stood firm against the efforts to give a special interest, control, and dominion over a park and a beach, and control over a park beach design. Because I did this, I was sabotaged with a censure for speaking out, but I'm not going to give up, because if this project moves forward as it is currently planned, along with the plan for Elder Lane Beach, there's not going to be any funds left for desired capital projects that I hear that the public wants for many, many years. What we are hearing is people want us to consider a pool. They want us to consider a multi-purpose facility. They want more ice. And to be able to do that, we can repair our beaches, and we can do so, but not use $15 to $20 million. Along with my family, I understand that, and I'll wind up. My children live here. I'm dedicated to the legacy of what Winnetka is, and I hope this evening you'll realize that I have been listening to you. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Colleen. And with that, we will kick off the Q&A. For folks that are on Zoom, just a reminder, if you want to chat the host a question, you may, but you need to include your name. We are going to read comments verbatim from Zoom, just as if you were here in person. So if your name is not in there, that question is not getting asked. We agreed on those rules as a group here. So just keep that in mind, please. Thank you. And if it's easier to come through the front, feel free to do that. But yeah, come on up, and got a question coming. Thank you. Yep.
Each of the 5 candidates, as we know, usually the censure from 21 ethics violations, majority of
Time.
Wrap it up, please.
20 seconds.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It would be easiest to come up here and speak on that again with the mic here if we're doing the laundry. Excuse me, Irene, we're gonna allow the question. Please. It's okay.
No.
I got it. The caucus went through a vetting process. They selected 3 candidates, myself, Elise, and Colleen. Colleen was the target of the censure, and the caucus decided to put her as one of the 3 candidates to be slated. So that was the caucus's decision. So I don't have an issue with that.
Thank you. Candidates, you're not obligated to answer either. If you would like to add any comment, you may.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
You are not obligated to answer any question. If you want to add any comment, you may. Please.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Corley for his fairness. And I'd like to also say that I was censured through sabotage. We have a park policy manual that talks about procedures when there are issues. One of those procedures is you give an individual notice, prior notice, and you give them the opportunity for hearing to be represented. That did not occur. I was simply arrived at a meeting on April 25th, along with another commissioner. We had absolutely no knowledge of this. And the 23 counts that I'm accused of violating, quite frankly, I'm proud because what we were doing was giving the public notice about a project that started in executive session under closed secrecy and continued for at least 2 years that way. So again, I want to thank Mr. Corley for his fairness. I'd like to see us move on and look forward rather than backward. We have a lot of opportunities for wonderful new projects right now. We can repair these beaches and we can get them open. So thank you very much.
Bill, you like that?
I believe that what happened to Colleen happened because she spoke out and people didn't like the fact that she was speaking out, and I don't consider that to be American. Okay, so I do agree that she should be reslated and she should be given another opportunity to serve because she is a dedicated servant to the village. Thank you.
Go ahead. What happened to Colleen was simply outrageous. She did not know the thing that was going to happen until she got to the meeting. The other commissioner did not know either. This was all done behind. And then 4 people sat and read these terrible statements that were prepared for them to read about Colleen, who was expressing her opinion. And that's what democracy is. It is simply outrageous. And in the history of commissioners at the state level, I don't think there was anybody else that this has ever happened to, because people don't do that to each other. Colleen studies, she does her homework on every occasion, and I would definitely recommend that she be on this board. Thank you.
You got 54 seconds.
Oh, I'm not going to speak. I'm looking for the next question. So I see we've got a line there. Give me one second to take a question from Zoom, because we have quite a few folks on Zoom and we said we would weave those into the live Q&A. So I'm going to take the next one from Zoom questions. Okay, this question is from Carrie Compel. And the question is, my understanding is that the fastest path to safely reopen Elder Beach is to enter into an IGA, which I think is an intergovernmental agreement with the park districts, and accept the current plans as approved by the park district. Would the village trustees support this? Yes or no?
The village trustees.
Of course, we go to the village trustees.
Yeah.
We can leave that for the village. So
Now you don't have to say it.
the village, now you have a preview of a question. I think they were looking for a park district answer, but if that's a question for the village, that's the answer. Okay, let's do one more from Zoom and then we'll go in person. The next one is from Anya, and apologies if I mess up any names. Anya Kramer. who asks, and if you want to time these, I'll try to stick to the 20-second limit if you want, Doris, but why would the caucus recommend Colleen Root after she was censured for 21 counts of ethics violations for months of inappropriate conduct related to communication, shared private data, and advocating against the park district? How could the caucus council so easily dismiss these ethical violations? And why would Ms. Root sit on this parks board again after being the biggest advocate against it? So I think that one's actually for me, and I will address that one. So you can go ahead and start the clock on that if you want. I should follow the rules that everybody else does. So first of all, in this question was easy to see coming, right? First off, the discussions and deliberations of caucus, council, candidate slating committees are confidential. So I am not going to try to rehash what was a thorough and comprehensive review of Commissioner Root and condense the answer down to 2 minutes, because that is not the appropriate thing to do here. What I will say is that the censure of Commissioner Root was a decision taken by the Winnetka Park District Board, and it was not necessarily the will of the people. Any candidate who steps up to the plate and puts their hat in the ring for a leadership position is going to get a thorough, independent review by the respective caucus, council, slating team, who will review their application, interview them. Again, all candidates are interviewed, check references, review available public information, and then discuss and deliberate before the committee takes a vote. We followed that process with Colleen Root and every other candidate. The slating committee voted and ultimately decided through a majority committee vote that the pros of Commissioner Root's continued board service outweighed the cons. And then a majority of the caucus council likewise agreed that the benefit of Commissioner Root's service outweighed the cons. And be honest, all candidates have pros and cons. Ultimately, it goes to the people to decide what they care about, just as it did earlier this week at the national level. I think it's important to remember what we are voting on. We are voting tonight on who we think should serve on the board starting next year. We are not voting on Commissioner Root as a person or anybody else as a person. And we are not voting on the censure. We are voting on whether we'd like these individuals to serve on the board next year and whether they should be added to the general election ballots as a caucus endorsed candidate. The caucus council slating committee considered and voted. The caucus council did the same. And now we will see if the full community agrees. You may or may not, but that's why we're here tonight. Ultimately, you decide. And let's go to the floor question.
Good evening. My name is Peter Seeley, and in your experience working on boards,
Time.
Wrap it up, please.
Have you made any mistakes? And if so, what have you learned from them?
Thank you.
You want to come up or talk here?
Better to come up if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Sweeney, nice to see you. We've had some fruitful conversations through the years, and I know you live on the lake and that you're very interested in having the opportunity to use the beachfront of the new development that's going on 205 Sheridan. To ask you, as far as board services, have I made mistakes? Each of us is pretty flawed. And if you're a good Presbyterian like I am, you believe that, of course, I make mistakes. But I hope that I rectify them. So I'm kind of curious as to where you're headed with your question, and maybe you'd like to elaborate.
Well, like I was trying to say,
Sorry, we're not going to do the follow-up questions.
and to that,
Sorry,
what mistakes did you make?
We're going to stick with those questions. Thank you.
My goodness, Mr. Sweeney. Mistakes that I have made have been in the function of serving as a president of a very large homeowners association, where I did not initially involve public communication early enough in a project. And perhaps that is why I'm so critical of what happened with this park district from the years of 2019 through 2021, where a great deal of the design for this beach plan was done behind closed doors. I think that it is imperative that tax dollars, people need to know what's happening with their tax dollars. And again, as I said earlier, open communication is essential. Thank you.
We're not doing follow-ups. We're not doing follow-ups. Thank you. So the next question we're going to take from Zoom, it is from Renee Evans. And with 25 million in reserves, what are your thoughts on where that goes? And the one big thing missing in Winnetka, a pool, which is always the top thing in the caucus survey, question mark. Anybody? Yeah, I'll bring it to you.
I think that over the years, I have watched this community grow. There's always needs, and everybody has special interests. I've heard some discussion of a multi-purpose ice rink, swimming pool, inside track, so on and so forth. I am willing to listen to any comments on what this community needs. I think that the money that is going to the Centennial Project is again outrageous. And it's all taxpayer money. That money needs to be spread around the community, and we need to talk to everybody and find out their needs. And there is a comprehensive plan study going now. And it would be a great time for you to attend one of those sessions and tell people what you want.
And this is a great question, I think, to pass the mic if everybody wants to count on it. 25 million. I have ideas, but you answer.
Okay, there are.
Yeah.
Do I have to be?
No, I'm just going to move the computer
Okay.
closer.
There are people that wonder why Winnetka led the way in establishing paddleball. Why don't we have pickleball? There are people who think that a second ice rink is necessary. Because of the growth of what's going on. There are people who think that a swimming pool, either indoor or outdoor, is necessary. And I'm willing to listen and investigate every one of those opportunities. But I won't be able to do anything about it if all the money that we have in the Park District coffers goes to the Centennial Beach project. So we need to get Elder done, we need to get it done cheaply, and we need to look at ways to lower the cost of the Centennial Beach project.
The caucus survey was very enlightening this year. And in fact, I think on the Parks platform, one of the mandates that the Park District is being asked to do is to do a feasibility study as to whether a pool should be constructed in this community. We have been working with our executive director and a consulting firm, Barry Dunn, on a strategic plan. And when I go to the various workshops, what I see are stickers around multi-purpose center, pool, and ice. As I noted in my initial comments to you, when it comes to capital projects, I truly think because it's your money, and unless we are out there, and I think we should be out there seeing what grants we can secure, then I think for major capital projects, we should go out for referendum and you, the taxpayer, tell us what you want. I have argued since my tenure on this board that we should go to referendum with respect to the 15.8 plus billion Elder Centennial Beach Plan. Thank you.
So I think that in Winnetka, there's a lot of people that have a wish list put together. And certainly when we moved here, I thought it was odd that there wasn't a pool, an outdoor pool or an indoor pool. And I do think it's really important as Winnetka Park District commissioners that you have to listen to the public and help them communicate with you what their top priorities are. However, I will say that most of the projects, the pool, 2 sheets of ice, all these projects really are high dollar numbers. And so, yes, we don't want to have all $25 million in reserves spent, but whatever the case is for projects of those magnitude, I do think that there'll have to be other sources of financing.
So in my introduction, I mentioned that I'd worked for the Park District during high school and college. I happened to be a lifeguard during that time, so that doesn't mean I want to work at any pool that we open in the future, just to be clear. The pool has come up on survey after survey when I look through the history of surveys and in preparing for this this process. And it is an interesting feature of the survey process that something can come up time and time again, and it doesn't necessarily get addressed. A pool is a big project. It's a huge capital expenditure. They can be run in a way where they are revenue neutral or even add money to the reserves. But you know, that's a risk, but it was a huge part of my life. And I think for a lot of kids, it would be a huge part of their life. Beach swimming is not the same. You can't do laps and things like that. The mention of taking funds from another project that's already been planned and already funds have been allocated for it. That's in my preparation for tonight, I've talked to a lot of people about these projects, and my understanding, while I'm still fresh to all these things, is that the funding is there for the Centennial Elder Project, and if it moves forward, that funding is available. That process was done. The money is there. If there's a new project, that will be a new funding process. That will be a new budget. There'll be a new bottom line for the capital expenditure, and those numbers will be presented to the community to decide if we want to spend that money for that project. I don't understand why we'd conflate those two large projects.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Melissa, I think you're next. Please. Real quick.
It was hard to understand her. The mic.
Please, go ahead.
As I indicated earlier, we're in the process of a strategic plan. And communication, again, has been a real focal point. We have a communications director that has been sending out email blasts. And I would ask that anyone who's interested in what's going on at the Park District, please sign up for the email blasts. The board just voted, I do believe we voted, well, we certainly determined that what we needed to do was also have printed catalogs to make it easier for people so that when you're registering your kiddos for various programs, you know, you can flip back and you have something hard copy. We're on social media right now, on Instagram, on Facebook. In fact, I just saw a lovely picture of our board president with a former trustee, Andy Kripe, as they went to an IAPD gala celebrating intergovernmental cooperation. I think it would be very helpful as we go through this strategic plan if you would communicate with our executive director, who I saw here earlier this evening, Shannon Nazal, and give her some ideas on what you'd like to see so that you do have better communication and information coming from the district. Thank you very much for your inquiry.
Please. So I'm maybe a little closer to those days, although not that close anymore. I remember so well getting bombarded with emails and flyers and everything, and I never even had time to process it. So I do think it's really difficult to hear the voice of the younger families because they're, you're just trying to get kids out the door in the morning, you're trying to get to work, whatever. You're trying to come home, feed them, get them to their sports. I think that one of the things that's actually problematic is there's almost too much information coming out. So I think when the park district is trying to elicit the views of the community, they have to be extremely targeted and thoughtful about the questions and not be sending them all the time, but rather just be having a true focus on what's in front of them and being very careful about the nature of the survey questions to make sure that we're eliciting the views accurately of the people in Winnetka.
So let's try to keep it quick too. I want to get to a few more reports.
Yeah, you got it. I just want to say that the people that represent the younger families they're not here tonight. I know that they've already tucked their kids in and they're in bed already. So I don't think they get the representation that they need. They just don't have time for it. And I know that people that are serving on the board now are doing it now because we have time. Being able to register for things through the website or through, let's say, an app. I've been looking on the website for different programs. It's very hard to find things. It comes up empty a lot. I think it'd be easy to implement something where if something's over-registered, you automatically allocate for additional resources the next year for a camp or other things. I think it's difficult. I think spaces run short and parents don't have time to beg for more resources.
Thank you. All right, Christina, if you'd like to go. Or do you want to comment? Okay.
I think there's two places where we interface with those young families, or we could interface with them. One is they're dropping kids off at Park District programs. Could we have information tables or something there to tell people, these are the things that are going on. Would you like more information about this? Can I help you register for this? Catch them while they're in their daily schedule and they're connecting with us. The other thing is, it's not a bad idea to develop an app. Okay, if we can develop an app that people can sign up for, and then the app could come up and it could just give you listings of here are new things, or we need your feedback on this, because I expect that younger families use the internet and their cell phones and things much more than people in my generation do. And that would be a good way to interact with them and to give them information about new things in the park district.
This question is how does the public get to the Park District Board? 6 o'clock meeting, one time a month. Really, that the programming is quite good. Sometimes seems to so I find that to be so very kind of smart. If you have the first people talk to you manage to do maybe I think that 6 o'clock
Thank you. All right, Christina, come on.
Can't hear you.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, Christina Coto. On June 9th, 2022, we voted to withdraw permits from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. If those permits had been approved, we would have been swimming at Alger and Centennial this past summer of 2024. On April 16th, 2024, after we had just submitted new permits on April 3rd, we sent emails to the opposing the new permits. Why should people vote for you if they want the beaches repaired, protected, and open?
Thank you.
I have to go back in time and memory here. In June of 2022, let me start. In February, of 2022, after nearly 2.5 years of private negotiations, a joint application for a combined Elder and Centennial Beach was submitted to the IDNR and to the Army Corps by the Orchard 2020 Trust that owns 205 Sheridan. That is the property just south of our Centennial Park, and by the Park District. The design for that particular application had huge metal louver walls with stone breakwaters, and then there would be planter pockets that would have come up and would have been constructed adjacent to the metal louvered walls. When the public learned of this design, this rather started this whole issue. Because within 2 weeks, 1,800 people signed a petition, and they said, please do not build a beach in a box. What we value are lakeshore vistas and also public access to the public beach. And so here we are, we're fast forwarding, and we're looking at a new design that bears absolutely no resemblance to the waterfront 2030 plan, because in fairness for the joint venture design, it was a headland beach system that would have preserved the bluff, would have and protected sand. What we have now, it doesn't look anything like what was in the waterfront plan. What we have for Centennial is a fenced dog beach, and then there is a pier, a giant pier that's kind of like Navy Pier in Chicago. Okay, but real quick, it will not, our technical experts have said, it will not preserve sand, it will not protect the bluff. So we can go on this. I hope I've been responsive.
Thank you. Good. For the secretary, there's a category time questions. We'll be coming up. We're going to try these last 2 questions, Christine, and then we got to move on. So that's going to be it. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Ambrose. This question is for all candidates. There are plans into the village for permanent approval to the if you are in favor of that, please say so why. And if you want to be open and you want less than that, would you also say what you would propose to be done?
And I'm going to ask that we do really rapid fire here because I want to get to this last question, and we were right around 30 minutes. This gentleman here will be the last question.
She didn't hear the question.
What's that?
She couldn't hear it.
Okay. All right. If the plans can help preserve the beach and the views and the ability to walk on the beaches, which every citizen of the state is supposed to have, then I'd be happy to review those plans and probably would be in favor of them. If they do not, I would not.
Currently before the Zoning Board of Appeals is the special use permit application for Centennial Beach. During the initial hearing on October 14th, multiple residents showed up and they gave concerns about safety because large rocks are going to block lake visibility. They talked about the fact that the proposed application does not meet the new village lakefront protection ordinances, and they worried about the degradation of our bluff and the steep slope. Before the staff right now at the village, it's my understanding that the elder special use application is pending before staff. One of the problems with this beach design is the Park District made absolutely no effort to revise their design to meet the lakefront protection ordinances that the village worked for over, 2 years? How long? 1 year, at least a year to promulgate. And so my comment is, I think we need to go back to the drawing board. And I think we need to present a design to the village that does meet the lakefront protection ordinances.
Other candidates? If there's nothing to add, feel free to skip. If you want to try to wrap this up quickly. Thank you.
I'll just to add that the plans that we implement have to
Oh, sorry.
All attached.
I cannot believe we're actually doing it this way, but if this is what it takes, that is what we will do.
Okay. Just to add, the plans need to protect the bluff, they have to protect the beach, and we have to get access open to the beaches. I was just over there yesterday, and having the beach fenced off is ridiculous. But me not having been on the board, I would have to ingest those plans and understand them. But I trust that the plans that have been worked on this long, I know that they've been developed in a way to protect the beaches and restore the beaches and protect the bluff and open the beaches for the public.
As far as I'm concerned, again, I also am at a disadvantage because I haven't been on the board. I haven't been a party to information that has been shared by experts and so forth. But I feel very strongly that we have to get Elder Beach open. And so I am all in favor of getting the special use permit for Elder Beach and get it done. We can't go back to the drawing board.
You have to go back to the drawing board. That is the silliest thing I've ever heard. You have 15, almost 16, $20 million set on one project. This park district does not have that kind of money for one project. They have put all their reserves into this. At the last meeting, this was done. They don't have it in open reserves. They have it in the Centennial project. And this needs to be reviewed. We are losing control of Centennial Park with this restrictive covenant.
Thank you. I want to keep it moving. Thank you. So we're going to do a final question. Please state your name and question, and if it's for a particular candidate, please outline that.
Really present for all candidates, but as a current field, particularly represented by Mary Gill and Pauline, I'd like to know from each candidate what your expected timeline and budget is for the reopening of that.
Expected timeline.
Timeline and budget.
Quick answer, please.
Well,
All right,
well,
Colleen.
she's on the board. She should know that. Okay, well, back in August of 2022, 5 different beach proposals were given to the board by staff. One of them was what I call the Elder One or the Elder Light proposal. What that would have done would be to shore up the bluff, the gabion baskets. There's a tear in the gabion basket, so it would be doing steel sheet piling where that was torn. And it was fixing up the beach house. It was adding sand. It was really a minimalist plan. As I recall, that the pier needed repaired, and we've had our technical expert, Matthew Ryder Red Barn, has said that the pier can be repaired for $80,000. That's just fixing the end of the pier. So we do not have exact cost estimates on what all this would cost, but I'm going to guesstimate that we could do all of this for under $2 million. I'm not, we have to ask staff as to whether this could be a maintenance permit. And if it was, we could certainly expedite this process and get this beach fixed. But here's an alternative, and it's been raised by both Commissioner Lusson and also by me. In the interim, while Elder is closed, one of the options is opening Centennial and bifurcating it, having it as a swimming beach, because it's a lovely beach right now with the low lake levels, and also having a portion for the dogs. Or the other alternative is temporarily you move the dogs to Elder Lane Beach and you open Centennial as a South Winnetka swimming beach.
I think that's a great idea. I also think that a lot of people are not planning anything as far as a dog beach is concerned, as far as a dog park is concerned. You know, we questioned back 5 years ago and said, well, if you take away the dog park, what are you going to do? And nobody had an idea, and nobody knew that Cook County would require you to build 2, one for big dogs, one for small dogs. Nobody knew that, but if you leave it alone, it'll be grandfathered. So if we keep it down on the beach, I'm hoping it could be grandfathered. I'm hoping everything could be wrapped up maybe by halfway through the 2025 season so we can get families back down on the beach.
The beach, the dog beach, the proposal is to put fencing out into the lake. Take the fencing, there'll be a cage where you pay your fee, use your phone. You go out into the lake and we're gonna put a fence out into the lake, like a cycling fence. That is craziness as far as I can see. The pier that they're proposing, calling it a pier, it's not a pier. It's 79 feet from one edge of the rubble to the other edge of the rubble, which is wider than Elm Street in town. And it's 200 feet long. It will stop the total drift of sand coming down from the northeast. This beach will have to be refurbished with sand. And it's not nice sand, it's little rocks. Every year, this is going to be fun.
So I want to be clear on my previous statement. I just want to see Elder Beach open. I think that, Centennial poses a whole different issue. Centennial Beach was my children's beach when they were little. It has a nice soft landing as you walk into the beach. I just want to get it open. And I think that that there are plans in place to have that temporary opening. But certainly the pier, I've seen pictures of it from a drone. It is very, very damaged. I am surprised to hear that there is any possibility of repairing it. But we'll see.
I think you mean Elder.
I'm Elder, yes, what did I say?
You said Centennial.
Oh, I meant Elder. I did mean Elder. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we're going the park code is a bit different.
Can we go down now? Can we return to our seats?
May we return?
You may. Thank you. Thank you to the parks candidates. Round of applause for all of you coming here tonight. Thank you. Okay. Let's see, I'll put this here. Okay, so for the parks vote, it is a bit different. We are using a system called instant runoff voting. What you want to do is rank your candidates. We are going to do the first vote to see who wins the first seat. Then we repeat the process minus the person who wins the first seat to fill the second seat. We repeat it a third time to fill the third seat. You want to rank your candidates in order of preference from 1 to 5. If you do not like a candidate at all, you're going to be best off not ranking them. But you may rank up to 5, and you can rank fewer. So rank those candidates. Again, if you want to vote digitally, same thing, you will see the drop downs to be able to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get those votes in. And we have, for those on Zoom, we have ballots flowing to the front of the room now, and our brave team starting to enter things in.
What did you say?
Said, well, this will just take a minute. This one. Okay, just keeping everybody posted. We are done up front. I've told the My Voice team that they can go ahead and tabulate the results. The digital voting had slowed precipitously, and that's been open plenty long. So we are closing the digital votes right now, and then they will be inputting the results. So just give me a minute to get that pulled up, and then we will show the results on the screen. Again, this is for the first board seat. So this is looking at the overall, did somebody right out of the gates get a majority number one votes? Or did they have a significant number of number twos that got counted? So this will select a winning candidate every round. We'll see who won the first seat, and then we'll see who won the second and the third in the subsequent rounds. So just sit tight. Okay, everybody, we have our first filled board seat. I can put it up on the screen in a second, but I'll just share it, and then the Zoom people can learn the result at the same time. I would like to congratulate Elise Gibson Duda for filling the first Parks Board seat. Okay, so on to round two. Now, what you need to do on round two, cross out Elise on your round two page. So for seat two, it might be called cross Elise out, right? She's done. So now there are 4 ranks to give, right? And again, you do not have to give all 4, but rank your candidates, bring that up to the front or enter it digitally if you want. Same thing as last time, just minus Elise, and now there are only 4. Mark, I can come to you. Mark, I'll come to you. Well, I'll pull it up. Yeah. To that point, so I will share the screen. There are not, we are happy to publish the detailed math table that explains how the rankings just flowed. There's not a percentage because it's not a straight out, yes, no, you get a majority vote percentage. So we will publish the math table that shows what just happened in the My Voice platform. Sure. There's a request to let the Zoom audience know what is happening. We are tabulating the round 2 paper ballots right now. Digital votes are flowing in. We've had over 500 votes cast as of a couple of minutes ago in round 2. And I'm getting the final count of total votes from round 1. So it's going to be another few minutes for the Zoom folks before we finish the paper ballots, and then another couple minutes after that to tabulate the results and get to the C2 winner. So sit tight. Total round 1 votes was 586. We also, there have been a couple of questions about the calculations. We are happy to share that following the event so everybody can see the detail. It is a somewhat complicated data table. It's not a simple, number yes, number no, and percent. It's a matrix table, but we are happy to publish that information. That'll be fully transparent to everybody following the event. We're at 546 right now for round 2, so it is slowing down, but we'll still have paper ballots flowing in. Paper ballots are done. So my voice team, if the digital votes are slowing, please go ahead and get ready to close that. For digital folks, this vote's been open for a while. I would hope you've gotten it in. I'm not seeing comments that anybody needs more time. Okay. So I think we are going to begin tabulating round 2. So just give us a couple minutes and we'll share that result.
Do we need for this round? 3 or 4?
We're doing 3 rounds. So this second, we'll move on to the third. Okay, there's a couple more minutes, and we should have a result for round two. For the folks in the room, I see some of the library candidates doing this right now, which is great. In order to get on the ballot for the April 1st election, we need signatures on the filing petitions. So Sarah Teagle in the back right now and Lindsay, they're passing out clipboards, they have their forms. The vast majority of us supported these candidates. Please sign those petitions. When it comes time to sign those petitions for the Parks candidates, please note that you can only sign the number of petitions as there are available seats. So do not sign more than 3 Parks petitions. Once we figure out who wins the Parks contests here, those candidates will be passing around their paperwork. Please do sign those. We need to get the signatures. It's much easier to get them here, and then we can easily get those things filed. So thank you for your help. Okay, we have a result for the second seat. I would like to congratulate Scott Corley for becoming the Winnetka Caucus Council slated candidate. So at this point, we'll move on to that third paper ballot sheet that you have. Make sure Elise is crossed out, also cross out Scott now. You have 3 candidates to rank. Again, you do not have to rank all 3. For the Zoom team, that third contest should be open momentarily. If you're not seeing it open on the digital voting platform, just try hitting refresh. I think there's a refresh button at the bottom of the page too, but you should see that contest open up, and just hit us in the chat if you're not seeing that. But we are on to the final round of parks, and then we will move on to the village president, village council introductions and Q&A. We will do those concurrently. Those are not separate sessions. We'll do village and then we'll do schools. And those votes will go quicker. So we're almost through the long part of the night. Okay, guys, thanks for your patience. Just a quick status update. Digital voting has slowed quite a bit. So, and we are on the very last paper ballot right now. So for the My Voice team, I can tell you, that is done. I think Freddie, that's your last one, right? Okay, Freddie, you're good? Great. So paper ballots are entered. My Voice team, you got it. We were at about 442. I can give you a final count when this is done. So they are now tabulating the results. Just give us a couple minutes. We'll get that third seat filled, and then we are on to village. Okay, I think we are ready here. Come on. Okay, for the third spot, I would like to congratulate Commissioner Colleen Root for becoming the caucus council slated candidate. Congratulations, Colleen. So that concludes the parks portion of the evening. We have village and school still to go. We're going to jump right into village. So for the village candidates, please come on up. Doesn't matter. Who's gonna go? I guess we'll go in alphabetical order. So, you go first because we'll do president first, and then we're gonna do Albertson,
So I should be at the end?
Myers, Warsick. Sure. Okay.
Thanks for all the good work. How are you? Thanks for being here. I know.
The Zoom folks, I'm gonna share. Where did that go?
Next time I'll bring it.
Okay, for the Zoom folks, I'll share the screen that's on the screen here. So you can see those results. There's not a lot of data to see. Okay, so those are that's the park slate, Lisa, Scott, and Colleen. On to village. We are going to treat this as one section for village, but we do have the village president contest with Bob Dearborn as the Winnetka Caucus Council recommended candidate. And then we have Kirk Albinson and Bridget Warsick as recommended candidates for village council. Bob is for village president, of course, and then we have a four nomination with Scott Myers. So similar to one of the other boards that we talked about, right? If the caucus council, in case of library, if we do not feel we have great candidates to put forward, we will only put forward those that we feel strongly about. We were one short on the village council. Scott Myers has stepped up to fill that void. And so welcome everybody this evening, and I'll turn it over to Bob for an intro.
On here, Peter?
Yeah, but this things.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I just have a few comments here. Hopefully it won't go more than a couple minutes. By way of introduction, I'm Bob Dearborn, a longtime resident of Winnetka, graduate of New Trier, graduate of Kenyon College in Ohio, and the University of Chicago Graduate School of Business. My business career has been in finance and specifically investment management. Over the years, I've volunteered in several capacities within our village, including civically through roles on the Caucus Council as both treasurer and chairman, several years on the Design Review Board, and for the past 7+ years as a trustee of the Village Council. I believe this is a pivotal time for the Village Council, as there are a number of significant issues on the agenda and in the pipeline. We have a very high functioning group of trustees, and will be transitioning from the 8-year leadership of President Rentz. And I want to thank President Rentz for 8 years of true dedicated leadership. It is essential that we do not lose momentum. In my years as a village trustee, I've been involved in all issues undertaken by the council. The combination of this background and knowledge of these issues, together with a personal style that focuses on bringing people together, I believe will enable the next council to hit the ground running and not miss a beat. An area of particular focus for me has been the financial position of Winnetka and how our many services and capital projects impact finances and, of course, the tax dollars paid by all of us. How best to fund current and future projects while maintaining the superior financial strength of Winnetka is mission critical to me. While all trustees weigh in and meaningfully contribute on financial related issues, I've had a strong interest in this area and I believe have been a leading voice in this analysis and council oversight over the past 7 years. this focus would continue going forward. Finally, my perspective is always, my perspective is always long-term and forward-thinking. As current residents, we have reaped and continue to reap the benefits of excellent long-term planning by our village forefathers. This town consistently sees an influx of young families, and our role as trustees and as president is to pay it forward to these newer residents, those to come, and of course, to our existing friends and neighbors. I would be honored to serve as Winnetka's next president and look forward to working with my colleagues on the village council, members of our outstanding village staff, all residents, and our fellow taxing bodies in a collective effort to further strengthen what is already a fantastic community. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have Clerk Robinson.
Good evening. My name is Kirk Alvinson, and give you a little personal information. I'm a 13-year resident in Winnetka. My wife and I have raised our 3 kids on Foxdale Avenue. Our kids all attended Winnetka schools, New Trier High School. Professionally, I'm a real estate developer and investor. I have a background in design, construction, and development. I've served on numerous boards and committees over my professional career, and most relevantly, for about a dozen years, served on the design review board for the village of Winnetka, and for a number of those years as chair. I've been serving as a trustee for the last year and a half. I've enjoyed my role. I look forward to continuing to serve the village as a impartial and a objective representative of the community. And my goal is to make sure that we maintain and we excel what a wonderful place this is for families and all community members. Thank you.
Scott Myers, my wife Luby and I have lived in Winnetka for about 40 years, raised our 3 kids here. In terms of my professional life, I spent about 30 years at Accenture, then helped run Chicago's bid for the Olympic Games. And then after that, helped lead a not-for-profit that was created out of the funds remaining. In terms of service here in Winnetka, 6 years on the zoning board, 4 years previously on the village council. I've been president of the caucus, so we're going to work Peter's coming through. And also helped found the Winnetka Music Festival. So a few other odds and ends in there, but that's about it. And look forward to serving again. Bridget?
Hello, my name is Bridget Orsick, and I'm a 10-year resident of Winnetka. I am a lawyer and a real estate agent, and have a long history of getting deeply involved in everything I love. I've been on the Skokie Washburn PTA, the New Trier Parents Association, the Brightwood Neighbors Association in Lincoln Park, Plan Commission. I was the chair for a while, and then Village Council, and I agree it's a very highly functioning and effective board that's full of great people that are trying to do their best for Winnetka and its residents. My 3 kids have gone through the schools here, and I'm looking forward to jumping back in at the end of this term in May for another 2 years, doing what we can to keep Winnetka as great as it is and making it better when possible. Thank you.
Okay, great. We will go ahead and open up Q&A for the village. Same deal. If you have a question, make your way over to that microphone. To get us started, we do have a question from Zoom. That's what I will read that. This question is from Kim Arnowit to each of the panelists. Winnetka has several beaches outside of Park District jurisdiction that are currently inaccessible to residents. What is your position on opening path and stairway access to these beaches for walking and swimming? Unguarded beachfront is available all along Lake Michigan. Why aren't these beaches available for the enjoyment of Winnetkans? And those mics do work, so just kind of pass those around. They should be fine. I will have to move the laptop.
We're talking about the street ends here for village-owned property. I think there's 7. A few are open, a few are closed. Some have been damaged. That is an area that we will be looking at. Some of the street ends going into the beaches there's damage to the stairs, there's damage to the beach areas, but that is an area that it's been expressed to us, a concern as to why they're not open, and that is an area that we're going to be looking at, I assure you.
I'll echo Bob's comments without having to repeat them.
I agree, and I did walk down with my dogs and observe them, and I think we can get a look at them and see what they are and see what might be useful and also what might be a liability as far as getting them opened again.
Okay. Question here, so let's just go ahead.
The questions about
Yeah, so for those, I don't know if everyone heard it on Zoom. I think the question was, what's my role going to be on the music festival if I'm on the village council? The music festival was started in my last go around on the village council. This will be our 9th year. If you haven't been, please come. Each year it gets a little easier, and we've also partnered with the folks at Space, who we have been offloading more responsibility on. My wife said that I no longer can stay out past midnight, so I have to be home. So we're going to be offloading more of the work to them. So I think that it's feasible to continue to do both.
Okay, and what questions about mine?
Somebody asked about my role on the Winnetka Music Festival. So I'm seeing it also. Somebody asked about what my role is on the Winnetka Music Festival.
Let me say that Jim Johnson is the creator and the visionary of the Winnetka Music Festival. Is it a conflict of interest? You serve as a trustee where a decision in the village council can impact the business venture and you have interest in it.
Yeah. So I think the question is it a conflict? So the village contributes $25,000 a year to the music festival. The Winnetka Music Festival pays $25,000 to the village in terms of services for police and fire overtime, as well as public works. So net, there's really kind of zero contribution. In terms of the, I guess, making money from the Music Fest, we haven't made, we don't take money from the Music Fest as individuals. The Music Fest is an entity which we are trying to enable to be self-funding. So we've built up a surplus so that we have enough to sustain the festival if for 1 year there's a rain out. But in terms of I guess the owners of the Music Fest, which are Mark and Val Haller and myself, we don't take any money out of it. So we don't make any money.
Okay, what's that? Yeah, the Q&A one. Yep. This is from Christine Streesham. Are you committed to lakefront preservation in the lakefront overlay district and preserving public green space in the village? And this is, I think, revenue, not specifically Scott. It is a lakefront preservation and the lakefront overlay district and preserving public green space in the village.
From my perspective, yes.
Yes.
No, I'm going to be somewhat controversial here. I mean, that's such a broad question. I mean, anyone can interpret it any way they want. So I can say yes, I could say no. I mean, it's like, what are the trade-offs, right? The village council is in a position where we always have to make trade-offs. So what somebody says, preserve green space, well, which green space and for what other use? What are the trade-offs? So I think to simply put out a broad question and make a commitment, yeah, I love green space, but what are the specific trade-offs that we're being asked to make? And that's what the village council has to deliberate on.
And I would say that yes, generally yes. And I also noted that in the caucus survey, something like 78% or maybe even higher thought that it was a very large priority to keep open space in Winnetka. So I think that has broad public support.
Great, okay. I'm gonna move myself closer to the mic this time, that might be easier. Okay, so this next question is from Katie Scullion. Will you evaluate alternatives to IMEA before signing the IMEA contract extension that might lock Winnetka into coal through 2055?
I don't know if we're going in order or not, but we are in the process of evaluating all of that right now. There was just a big meeting that we attended, and I know that we have more study sessions planned, and we are definitely looking very seriously at the issue. It is a big issue with a lot to learn.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just, yeah, I think we definitely have to look at what the trade-offs are, right? In terms of meeting our future power needs and doing it as environmentally sensitively as possible. So we do have to evaluate options.
I know the village will be taking all necessary efforts to receive community input, evaluate all alternatives before making a decision on this. And, you know, very specifically, staff has expressed a strong desire to hear community input before any recommendations are made to council.
There's no question that this is going to be a very public process. We actually have a study session the second Tuesday in December to kick that off. And it's going to be, we welcome all perspectives of this. The seminar that was held a few weeks ago was really enlightening. It is a complicated issue, but we are going to go at it in a very public way, in a very deliberative way. And so we encourage anyone who has an interest in that topic to come out and help us get through this.
Thank you. There's an in-person question, go ahead.
About the position of the historic preservation of the village, saving the potential of significant homes, what you feel about it. Thank you.
I think there are a lot of things involved in that. We are trying to incentivize people to save a lot of these homes. In particular, we have a housing stock that doesn't have many starter homes for young people, and when these get torn down and big, large homes that are very expensive get rebuilt, it gets harder and harder for people to make their first home here. So I know that we have been doing what we can to support the it's not any longer the Landmark Preservation Commission, Historic Preservation, is that Commission? Yeah. We support them with the recommendations that they bring forth, and we do what we can to try and incentivize people to preserve those homes.
You know, we've extended the time that a developer has to wait before they get a demolition permit. And I think that has maybe slowed things down a little bit in terms of the demolition of some of the historic homes. You know, there's always a trade-off here between property rights and preserving the kind of the historic integrity of the village. I think we always are trying to look for ways that don't step on property rights too much, but also preserve that. I think that we just have to keep looking for creative ideas, to do that.
I'll ditto the two previous comments.
And Laura, it's good to see you. I'm certainly Laura on the Landmark Preservation Commission. I was the liaison at the time from the village council, and that is a very, very difficult commission to serve on, because the people on that commission love the old homes, love what they represent in this community, and they have to oversee the demolition approval of a lot of those old homes. So it's very difficult. The council has instituted, to Bridget's point, some provisions to incentivize people to renovate homes as opposed to demolish the homes. Some of the homes that come through the commission should be demolished. I mean, they've kind of worn out their useful life, but some unfortunately are demolished in their useful life. has not been worn out. We have, in terms of fees, permit fees and so on, there are some incentives within the permit fee structure, again, to incentivize renovation over demolition and new construction. But to Scott's point, it is a property rights issue to a large extent, but there is definitely sympathy on the village council to do what we can to incentivize the preservation of these beautiful old homes.
Okay, thank you. And then actually the last question here is from Teresa Clayborough. This is in particular for you, Bob. She said, in light of the lakefront property English lawsuit, what is the best path? What is the path forward to reverse the MC-01-2024 ordinance? How much is it costing in legal fees per year? And then it's required by the state and federal law. Municipalities required to the value that's being taken from property owners. What is the value of the rest of the
That's a lot. That's a lot, and it's probably pretty clear that I'm not going to comment on pending litigation that is in place. I will say this, that the council in the last year and the year before entered into a public process on lakefront issues, and I think did some fantastic work that ended up in some ordinances, some zoning ordinances. And it was a unanimous vote on these ordinances from the council members. But that's where we stand, and there is litigation. That's public information. And but in terms of commenting on the litigation, I just won't do that.
Thank you. That is the end of our engaged questions. So if there's anything else, if not, we'll wrap it up and move on to a vote. Looks like we are done here in person, and I'm not seeing anything else online. So you are going to do so it's one sheet for all of the president and regional candidates. Again, it's a simple approve, disapprove, and the yes or no vote.
Okay, I was saying that we're wrapping up the Q&A. Thank you, candidates, for coming to speak with us tonight. We are now moving on to the village vote. Indicate your preferences for or against each candidate. Enter it digitally or bring it up front, and we will tabulate results. Think about that.
To the same time, there's a proposal to go ahead and start the candidate, the school candidate introductions while we tabulate the results. For the people on Zoom, what's been going on in person here, you guys can't see this with the way the cameras are pointing. The papers come to the front of the room very quickly, and then it just takes us a little bit of time to get those entered in. So we can pick up some time savings here. You digital voters are probably already done. So we're going to go ahead and do the school introduction so we can quickly get to Q&A and then the final vote. For school candidates coming up. And again, we will go in alphabetical order of last name. So we start with Andrew. Yeah, if you want to speak here, that's the mic. Sit here over there. This is great. So take this. That's going to pick you up. 2 minutes. Perfect. Great.
Just wanted to thank everybody for sticking around. I really appreciate the attention. You're here all to represent the kids of our community, which I would argue would be one of the most important aspects.
Your name,
of this
don't
community.
forget.
A little bit about myself. My name is Andrew Hotz. I've lived in the community for about 5 years. I have 2 kids in the district in 2nd grade and in 5th grade. What is a little bit different about me, or maybe unique about me in my experience, I'm a 15-year executive in media and technology, and I'm also the product of 2 educators myself. My mother is a retired public school teacher, and my father is a college professor. So I'm a lifelong learner. I have a love of education, and that's what led me to my career in technology. And where I think I can be helpful to the schools and to our children is bringing that tech experience to the school board. If you've looked at the planks for this year, 4 out of 5 of the planks, the core of what they're talking about is technology.
how technology is being used in schools, what opportunity technology will present our children when they leave the schools. And that's an expertise that I want to bring to that board. I think we're having the right discussions around talking about devices, but I would encourage us to go further and talk about how AI needs to be present in our schools to help them prepare for the world that they're going to greet out there. So I'd appreciate your support and advocacy. I'm excited to advocate for our students and our kids and our neighbors' kids and continue the great excellence that we see in our schools here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh. So I think we go to Alyssa next. We're going off last name. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, it's late, we're tired.
Wait, I did just mess that up, didn't I? Yeah. You and on.
The-
Sorry,
the
Bash,
school.
yeah. Go ahead, yeah. Sorry, Alyssa.
I was going with it.
Getting late, I can't do the opposite.
No worries, it's all right. All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time. My name is Bashir Qasim, and in return for your time, I'm hoping to give a lot more of my time to the school board.
Hold the mic.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, perfect. I said, thank you for being here so late. I'm a Chicago native, and I moved to Winnetka, to the village, about 2 years ago, after spending over a decade abroad working. My wife and I now have the pleasure to raise our 2 young children in this incredible village, with our oldest now in the school district. What I'm offering Winnetka School Board is over 17 years of experience in the technology sector and leadership. I've held both consulting and strategic roles for some of the world's largest companies, in addition to venture-backed startups, giving me experience in navigating complex challenges and building consensus among teams with varying points of view. I believe this experience is vital as we face pressing issues in education, particularly around the role technology plays in our children's lives. As a technologist and a parent, I am deeply committed to ensuring that we leverage technology thoughtfully while safeguarding our children from the potential downsides of rapid advancements in technology, particularly artificial intelligence. I'm also committed to leveraging data to help drive informed and effective decisions, ensuring that we act in the best interest of our students based on clear insights with measurable outcomes. Our children need to be prepared for the world outside Winnetka, but also embody the values that make this community very special. I'm dedicated to preserving these values while making decisions that prepare our students for the dynamic future that they definitely face. My approach is rooted in listening, building shared understanding, reaching consensus to act in the best interest of every child in our district. Thank you for your trust and the hopeful opportunity to contribute to this extraordinary community. Thank you.
Now we'll listen. Thank you very much. I'll get this out of the way.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa Rapp. It's a pleasure to be here in such esteemed company as these other great candidates. I am currently an elected school board member acting as vice president with our indefatigable president, Dan Waters, to my left. It has been an honor to serve in this way. I had the pleasure of growing up here and was first front row seat to the best education money can buy as a 36 alum, Greeley, Washburn, and New Trier. And I have ever since had a passion for early childhood education that propelled me to lead a children's dance program at Yale or serve on a national nonprofit board called Spark, which Andrew actually also served on, creating life-changing mentorships for middle schoolers. My husband and I met in graduate school at Stanford out west and moved back to Winnetka 7 years ago to raise our daughters, now 12 and 9-year aging grandparents. And because of our love of Winnetka and passion for early childhood education, it made sense to live that value by serving on the school board 1 term. Why I'm here again is because I believe the work we're doing is extraordinarily important, particularly in the literacy and math curricular review, let alone with the new strategic plan. And I think that work is about half done, 4 years in, and it's important to see things through to the beginning. So it's been an honor to serve on the school board so far, and I am honored to be slated once again.
So living my whole life with a W last name, I'm used to being last. First of all, I just want to take one quick second to thank the members of the district, both the staff and the custodial team who are keeping the lights on and keeping everything going for tonight, working late. So thank you to all of you. Just by quick way of introduction, my wife and I and kids have lived in Winnetka now 12 years. I've had the pleasure, as Alyssa noted, the pleasure of serving on the school board for the past 3 years and currently as the president of the board. I'm a little bit unique in the fact that our 2 kids, now 17 and sitting over using Democracy in Action on his own, and 14-year-old. So I have two children who graduated from Winnetka Public Schools, which makes me part of that majority of the demographic of residents who care very much about the schools, even though we don't have children directly in the schools, because we know how important they are. By way of background, I have a degree in finance from undergraduate from Miami University, MBA in finance and strategy from Kellogg, and I currently run a consumer goods company, a chocolate company with operations in North America and in Europe. I think in terms of why I'm up here, one, I'm incredibly energized by this work. It's incredibly difficult, and it is intense. Everybody who's up here and all the other board members can attest to the fact that this is a significant time commitment and a significant energy commitment, but I continue to gain energy from that. We have a lot of great work that we have done in the past 4 years, whether it's around the referendum, whether it's around starting to infuse data into the classrooms, or the strategic plan, which is sunsetting, and we're working on a new one. But a lot of that work still sort of, so to speak, remains in flight. And I think importantly, when I spoke with the caucus and I talked about what I think the pressing issues of the day for us are, I mean, there are myriad of them. As Alyssa mentioned, we have curriculum implementation, both in English and math underway. Those are multi-year projects that have massive impact on our staff and certainly in the outcomes of our students. We have a lot of work to do about student measurement and how we implement data, as well as long-term maintenance issues with all of our schools that are incredibly important. So a lot of work to do, but appreciate the time and appreciate everybody sticking it out through the W's last night.
Thank you. Before we jump into Q&A, I have the village results. Just give me 1 second. Yep, they're confirming they are done. I will get it on the screen. Actually, I'll just announce it and then it'll be out of my sight. So the full slate was confirmed. And so we have congratulations for Bob, Kirk, Scott, and Bridget. Strong support for everybody. And I will put up the numbers now. So thank you. Okay, can you see that? Let me share it with the Zoom folks real quick. Make that bigger. That's not what you want to see.
No.
Hang on.
There's no numbers.
Yeah. Why I'm sharing the wrong screen for Zoom. 1 sec. There we go. Okay. All good? Great. Questions for the school board? Let's start out with the in-person one here, and we will be watching the Zoom chat as well. If anybody else has questions they want to send in.
Yes.
Wrap it up. Thank you. And you guys get the joy now of doing the laptop pass? I'll leave that to you to handle. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be in charge. It's good to see you, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's, I think as a board, we are consistently managing all of the ability for our ability to put the right staff in place at the right time. I think at that time, the district, when we eliminated the science facilitators and put in more reading facilitators into the room, I think that we felt and the district felt was the need. 100%. This is a very, I think as we implement the curriculum, both the English, math, and then eventually will be the new science or the updated science curriculum, we will continue to evaluate the need to put the right resources in the room. It is anybody who's listened to sort of our staffing discussions, it is a three-dimensional puzzle when we think about student needs, educational needs and budget. And that's the reality of it, but 100%, I think, open to continuing to evaluate if that is something that we need to manage.
Good. Okay. Then I've got to get the laptop back. Next one. Okay. Next question is, we'll do one online and then we'll come back here. This is from Moira O'Donoghue, and it's a question for Andrew and Basher. What role should technology specifically play in a progressive education classroom?
Yeah, jump in that. So I don't know if anyone here watched this night.
I really hate this thing.
What role will technology play? So I think a lot of what we hear about technology, we hear about the risks that technology presents, the distraction that could present in schools, some of the addictive behavior that could be found in technology. And that is all here, and that is all something that we need to be looking out for our kids and make sure we're protecting them against that. There's also an immense amount of opportunity that I think technology opens up for our children. And if you've watched, Bill Gates was speaking about the role that AI will play in our children's futures and the careers and the lives that they'll be preparing for. And the skill set will evolve and change as AI becomes more present in our lives. And it will require our kids to be more critical thinkers, to be able to ask questions differently, because some of the tools that we've been using in the past will be a bit obsolete, and they'll be using AI for that. But that does not negate the need to teach our children to be great thinkers, to be inquisitive, to be able to ask the right questions. And so it kind of goes a bit back to the basics on what I think our kids need to know. They need to understand the arts. They need to understand the basics of math and science, and they need to formulate those now to be able to create better questions and ask better questions so that AI can help adopt that. And that is something I think over time, it's not going to be immediate, but over time, I think we do need to look at how we're training our kids and how we're developing our kids to make sure they're prepared for that.
Yeah, thanks. Well said. I think I'll add to that just saying that AI in particular, since it's the most prevalent in the zeitgeist, is an incredible tool and I use it every day for work, for personal things. It's an incredible tool to not only help our children learn topics a lot more rapidly, but furthermore, to gain a very deep understanding of those topics. Additionally, what AI brings to us and what we can bring to the school district is helping our children understand how to develop new points of views and to think critically. AI can help children understand what the impact of what they're learning in the classroom is and how they can take that forward with them through their learning journey. So I think there's risk, as we said, but also incredible opportunity as well.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to bring the magic laptop over to the in-person Q&A, and we're going to try out something new here, but please go ahead. Steve, we haven't dropped your laptop yet. Can you believe that? Night's not over yet, though. But yeah, I was talking to Daryl. We'll pick it up. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Mizell. I love the tribute to questions. It's been a while since I've been to a school board meeting. And in the past when I've gone, I've heard a lot of silence in response to resident questions. I'm wondering if any of you is prepared to commit to actually responding to questions residents raise when they're asked. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can jump in with that. Oh, this.
Melissa, thank you for your question. From a procedural standpoint, we have a procedural requirement that when the questions are asked in the meetings, there's a 3-minute timer presented. We're actually not procedurally allowed to respond. And then the responses, after gathering the residents' names and addresses, are formulated and responded by email. I understand your frustration with that process. It actually can be frustrating too from the other side of the table if you're hoping to engage in a richer dialogue. And if there are, and one of the initiatives of our current board that's also been discussed even as recently as our last board meeting are more interactive ways that we can engage with the community, even above and beyond the meetings themselves. And to the degree that you have ideas and recommendations there, we're all ears because we want this to be an open dialogue. We want it within all the confines of the Open Meetings Act, also known as OMA. There's none of us who spend time and heart and thoughtfulness on this that don't want it to be a dialogue with our friends, colleagues, and neighbors. That specific point you raised, however, is literally a procedural limitation, which we agree is as frustrating as you are. And maybe it's one we can work to figure out how to solve better, but there's no intended silence. It's procedural limitation, unfortunately.
No, I mean, completely agree with what Alyssa said, and it was part of we had an open work session in advance of our meeting last month where this was a distinct point of discussion sort of on two fronts, right? And two connected is like, how do we as a board find better ways to connect in a dialogue with the community? I think the parks and the village do a very nice job at being at the farmers market, right? We've done various things before that haven't really stuck, but we know that there's obviously you read the caucus survey, you know that there is conversations to be had. The other piece that we had discussed is spending more time as a small group and by sort of the law of, as Alyssa mentioned, the OMA, no more than 2 board members can meet without posting it as a meeting. But taking 2 board members out to individual community meetings as well, whether that's Rotary, whether that's Village, whether that's, any community that will be willing to sit and listen and share thoughts, we're looking to gather more feedback for sure.
Thank you. What if I dropped at the very end? Okay, so I do not see any more questions online. And Steve, are you going up for a final question? Okay.
I just wondered.
Well, state your full name for everybody. Great, you made it. Matt, you got that? Who wants it first?
Regarding sort of the time spent socializing, I think, obviously there is a lot that the kids need to learn in school. And so making sure that they're getting the academic requirements. I think one of the things you point to is the importance of our children developing the appropriate social skills to be successful in this world. And one of the areas, and I know this is listed in one of the planks as well, is actually getting data back on how we are doing as a school, providing that to our children. And so I say, before I'd answer that question of what can be done, I do think we need to start and looking at the data a little bit better and understanding where are our children, where are we making progress, where are we falling behind on that social side before any drastic changes are even proposed of how we would change the curriculum or change their day at school. So let's get that data back. And that's something I know the board has done quite a bit of work on, and we're just on that precipice of getting that data back and being able to analyze that and make more informed decisions.
Okay, and I will take it back, and I think we are done. So final step, everybody, is to vote. So you should have that final, you probably have 2 pages left. Bash was so gracious to serve as an alternate, and so the way our bylaws work, the alternate gets a vote if one of the three recommended candidates do not pass a majority. Okay, so you're voting on Dan, Alyssa, and Andrew. If one of those individuals does not have majority support, then we would vote on Basher. Okay? So hold on to that Basher ballot. Do not turn that in just yet because we are not doing that one just yet. Okay, so for the Zoom folks, the school vote is open. Please hop in there to the digital platform for some of your final votes of the night. You should see Alyssa, Andrew, and Dan's voting pages open. So get those votes in. There aren't that many people left in the room, so this vote's going to go a little bit quicker with the paper ballots. Oh, yes. One other thing for folks who are starting to peel off. Totally understand that. Please try to catch, if you can stay, we would love your signatures. That would be a big help. I do think this round will go quickly, and then you can sign and head on home. I know we're all tired and it's been a long night, and I really appreciate so many people sticking this out. Yeah, you guys can feel free to go on down if you want. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you going late.
Of course. Thank you.
Hopefully this works out. Parents are
Thank you for.
Thank you, Alyssa. Glad this worked out.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Getting pretty empty.
Yeah. If for the My Voice team and for people online, the paper ballot count is done. I will take a look for the My Voice team. Just to confirm that the digital vote has slowed. So My Voice team give me a confirmation, please. It has. Okay, we are going to go ahead and close the voting for schools. So just give us a couple minutes to tabulate and we'll have the results. Thank you. Try to make clear.
Good.
Passed out of my life. Getting close to it. Right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll just come down. Okay. There we go. We're unmuted here. Guys, we have results. So I would like to say congratulations to the three recommended candidates, Andrew, Alyssa, and Dan, for becoming the caucus council slated candidates. Well done. And that concludes the evening, everybody. You made it to the end. I think we're gonna get kicked out of here soon. Thank you for your participation. For the folks online, thank you for sticking around. I hope you appreciate the work the caucus council does. We're not gonna do a long donation plug at the end of the night here, but if you do appreciate it, please sign on to winnetkacaucus.org. We would love to have your support, and we would love to have your support on the caucus council next year as well. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
So we